Hi, I'm Miranda and this is Mission Unstoppable.
Coming up, this robot segment is touching.
Now I'm gonna grasp. That's so cool.
Then, if you're desperate for some frog facts, I've got you covered.
Frogs make up almost 90% of the world's living amphibian species.
And looking for fun in the sun? See how well your sunscreen blocks ultraviolet rays.
Although sunscreen sounds simple, what does SPF 30 mean compared to SPF 100?
Then, what is Marina doing to this tree? It's science, of course.
This is so cool.
Get ready to meet the scientists, inventors, and heroes who help make our world a better place. The future is here. The mission, unstoppable.
In sci-fi movies, they're always putting rockets and lasers on robots. But in real life, the next innovation is little robot fingers. Nabeel has more.
A little bit to the right, slowly. Now lift. Oh, come on. Man, I feel like this is impossible without being able to feel what the robotic claw is feeling. Oh, that's impossible, you say?
Maybe not. Thanks to the work of mechanical engineer and roboticist, Dr. Veronica Santos.
During my high school days, I actually broke my left elbow. I had a lot of physical therapy. I tried a lot of different mechanical devices, and they were hard to use. So when I realized that I could use my interest in math and science to build better devices, even prosthetic arms, I knew that's what I wanted to do.
Today, I'm visiting UCLA, where Dr. Santos is going to show me how giving robots the sense of touch can change or even save lives. But before I learn why scientists are teaching robots to feel, Dr. Santos has an experiment to show how much information is actually shared by a sense of touch.
Without looking in the bag, tell me what you can feel using the tongs.
Okay. I'm gonna be honest with you, I kind of have no idea. It feels like it's the size of a ping pong ball.
Why don't you lift it out of the bag, but still keep your eyes closed? Is it small, large?
Definitely feels soft, a little squishy, but beyond that, I really don't have a lot of information for you.
Dr. Santos has me place the object back in the bag and try to identify it with my hands.
It is soft and squishy and a little bit larger than a tennis ball. It's got a bunch of little things hanging off of it, like little antenna.
Lift the object out and you can open your eyes.
Yep, this is what I was picturing, but only when I use my hands.
So to make a better robot, we need to give them a way to experience the world less like the metal tongs and more like my strong human hands. That's why scientists and engineers like Dr. Santos work in the field of haptic exploration.
Haptics is all about the sense of touch. So you and I have a sense of touch, and we want to give robots the same sense of touch. Think of all the things that you can feel, even with your eyes closed, the size, the shape, the weight, even the texture of things. Well, if you give robots a sense of touch, they can use those robots in all different types of applications. You can put the sense of touch into prosthetic hands, or hands on robots that are working in hospitals, or even in the field for search and rescue or military missions. We can also send the information about what a robot is feeling directly to humans. And the dream is that an amputee would feel as if the prosthetic hand were part of their own body.
The technology that allows robots and prostheses to feel their environment are called tactile sensors, and lots of different types have been developed.
Tactile sensors are basically devices that can measure changes in shape, and there are so many different ways that we can do that.
Like fabrics that generate a voltage when you stretch them, or barometers that are embedded in rubber that measure the pressure of touch. Small sensors that use liquid metal, and even this one that looks like a human finger.
It actually has fluid inside and fingerprints on the skin to transmit vibrations. These have been used on prosthetic hands.
Now that I know what tactile sensors do, it's time to experience how one works.
So this is the robot that you're going to control today. We've got it hooked up to a computer, and we put a tactile sensor on it, that green fingertip over there. We're going to transmit what the robot is feeling directly to your fingertips. And you're going to use it to find something I've hidden in this container.
In a disaster, rescue robots can't always see what they're looking for. To simulate that, I have to find the object in this bin using the sense of touch alone.
Oh my goodness.
The robot is lowered into place, and I take control using a special glove covered in motion sensors. When I flex my wrist down, the robot moves forward.
It's moving.
Flexing up, moves the robot back. But most importantly, when the robot fingertip feels something, it's translated to my actual human fingertip.
And, oh, there we go, I'm feeling the vibration. So what happens if I go back now? Oh, the vibration stopped. It's like really jarring to see what feels like my hand in there, but knowing that it actually isn't. Forward, forward, forward. So now I'm gonna grasp. That's so cool. Dr. Santos, thank you so much for showing me all this awesome stuff. I mean, I had no idea how far we've come in the field of robotics. I mean, of haptic technology. And it's so cool that we can use technology like this to help people with prosthetics, search and rescue, and military missions. And also, now that I've actually seen what you can do with this stuff, I might have you teach my robot claw game to feel as well. So I'm just gonna leave this here and I'll pick it up in a week. Okay, bye!
In my dressing room between takes, I like to check in with our experts. So I asked Dr. Santos what she's been up to since we last filmed. Check it out.
Hey Miranda, since filming, we've been working on a bunch of cool new projects. One of our most exciting projects is building tactile sensor skins for underwater robots. And there are a ton of applications for touch in wet environments. For example, 95% of international data communications are sent through cables lying on the bottom of the ocean. And when these cables need maintenance, robots are often sent down. Now imagine if that robot had a sense of touch and could send that sense of touch to a remote human operator. That would enable the operator to more precisely and quickly repair the internet. And we wouldn't want to lose the internet all across the world. Thanks for having me, and remember to keep in touch. Bye.
They lived next to dinosaurs, can leap 20 times their body length, and can be found on every continent besides Antarctica. And they kind of look like little goblins. They're frogs, and I'm gonna tell you just a few of the ways they're incredible. I promise it'll be riveting. So hop on over here and let me spill some STEM tea. There are about 7,000 frog and toad species across the globe. You can find them in the desert, the Amazon rainforest, and even the Arctic Circle. In fact, frogs make up almost 90% of the world's living amphibian species. Earth has been blessed by frogs for almost 200 million years. That means frogs have been hopping around for more than 100 million years before T-Rex appeared. But frogs aren't just cute. They're unfortunately delicious. I mean, they're not my favorite, but frogs are eaten by snakes, lizards, birds, small mammals, humans, and even other frogs. Millions of years of being a popular item on Mother Nature's menu has led to some incredible adaptations. Let's start with the eyes. Most of the time, animals have eyes on the side of their head if they're prey animals, and eyes facing forward if they're predators. Frogs were like, nah, we're doing something different. The enormous bulging eyes of frogs sit on top of the head and can see to the front, to the sides, and even partially behind them. This also lets frogs sit underwater while their eyes scope out the world above. But frogs use their eyes for more than just looking at stuff. They also help the frogs swallow. Yep. Once a frog has grabbed some dinner, the frog depresses those eyeballs into the roof of its mouth, pushing the food down its little froggy throat. They need that help swallowing because the frog's tongue is attached at the front of the mouth, and this tongue is a wonder. Frog tongues are made of some of the softest natural materials known to science, 10 times softer than human tongues. That softness, combined with special saliva, can act like a viscoelastic fluid, which helps them grab their prey faster than a human can blink. Scientists are actually studying frogs to help develop the next generation of adhesives. Another incredible adaptation that some frogs have evolved is poison. Like really, really, really powerful and deadly poison in the glands of their skin. The tiny golden dart frog, for example, is one of the most poisonous animals on the planet. A single frog has enough poison to kill 10 adult humans, and they're brightly colored to signal to predators to stay away. There are so many amazing things about frogs, like how they can drink through the flesh of the tummy or breathe through their skin. But probably the most important fact about frogs is that they're in danger. Frogs are especially sensitive to changes in their environment. So habitat loss, pollution, climate change, and the infectious chytrid fungus has decimated populations around the world. The biggest help for frogs are the things we can do to help the overall environment. Things like habitat restoration and reducing pollution and pesticides. If you help the environment, there's a good chance you're helping a frog. So hop to it. What's invisible to the naked eye and dangerous for your skin? Ultraviolet rays. And also, ghosts. We don't really cover ghosts on this show, so let's find out about UV rays.
You've probably heard of UV rays. They're wavelengths of light that are just too short for the human eye to see, but they're pretty useful. They can decontaminate surfaces and help us study new or young stars burning in outer space. But you're probably most familiar with UV rays as the thing that gives you sunburn when you visited the pool this summer. Hey, I'm Miriam. I'm just a girl in the physics world, here to tell you about my favorite collection of plasma, the sun, and how we can protect ourselves from the UV rays it emits. Although sunscreen sounds simple, what does SPF 30 mean compared to SPF 100? Well, in today's experiment, we're going to find out. We're going to need a marker, tape, UV beads, so when the UV light hits them, they're going to turn a bright yellow, orange, purple, or pink. And these plastic clear bags, and of course your sunscreen of differing SPF number. We're going to separate these UV beads into 5 different bags. We're going to have 2 controls, one bag that we're going to coat with the 30, one bag that we're going to coat in the 50, and another bag that we're going to coat with the 100. So I'm just going to take a small handful of the beads and put them into each clear plastic bag. We're trying to relate the difference between what does SPF do compared to no protection at all. Just so we remember which one is which, we are going to label them. And now we're going to get messy. We have to coat these bags completely. You want coverage enough that you can still see the beads, but you have done a complete coverage. These UV beads are so sensitive to sunlight. So if we don't pack them in a box or a bag, they will immediately change color. So I have a nifty little box and I'm going to put them inside. All right, so let's go find some sunlight. I'm going to whip out the control first and let's see what happens. So we're exposing them to light, and oh my gosh, they're turning all the colors, and look how bright they are. How cool is that? So SPF 30 is coming out, and then we're going to have SPF 50. Oh, you can see some changes of colors, and then SPF 100. So I can see a lot of purple, a bit of orange, the yellow not so much, but they look visibly not as bright as the controls. Now, we're gonna let them sit in the sun and then come back and check on them. It's been about an hour, and the control is bright and beautiful as ever. And then the SPF 30, 50, and 100 all look a bit more muted in color. If I compare SPF 50, 30, and 100, those beads kind of look the same color to me. So they're doing something, but they're not completely blocking all the rays. If you want to know the real secret, SPF 100 actually protects against 99% of UV rays. SPF 50 protects against 98% of UV rays, and then SPF 30 protects against 97% of UV rays. So I'm sitting in the shade now, and I don't know if you remember from before, but we had another control bag number 2. We're gonna see what happens to it in the shade. There is a misconception that in the shade you are not exposed to UV rays, or if it's a cloudy day, you're not exposed to enough UV rays to harm you. Immediately, we are seeing that the beads are changing color. So we can see the yellows, the oranges, the pinks and the purples all coming out. So that means I'm still getting exposed to UV light, and I still need to wear my sunscreen, even if I'm in the shade or if it's a cloudy day. So go out there, have fun, and remember, always wear your sunscreen.
You might think it's easy to track down a tree. I mean, they're stuck in the ground. They're not going anywhere. But with illegal logging and wood poaching, tracking trees can be more complicated than you'd think. Marina has the story.
Since 1990, more than 1 billion acres of forest have been lost, and not just to deforestation. There are thieves coming after your trees. In fact, illegally poached wood accounted for 30% of the global timber trade in 2020. Luckily, there are people trying to stop this large-scale theft of our natural beauty, like Michelle Toshak.
I think I chose science because science was a way to get outdoors and ask questions based on curiosity. Science should be a fun process. The data collection is the most fun part of science.
Michelle lives her data collecting dreams by enlisting volunteers to gather samples. Those samples help scientists create a genetic database for commonly stolen trees like big leaf maple, eastern white oak, and black walnut. Think of it like collecting timber thumbprints. So Michelle and I trek into the woods to meet up with project coordinator Isabella to learn what secrets these tree trunks hold.
Hey, welcome to our lovely sample site for today.
Thank you. So how do we start?
So you're gonna look for a break in the bark where you're not drilling into the exterior of the bark.
And just turn the little thingy?
So you're gonna press all of your body weight into the tree to get it to bite and then start turning.
Once the tree is tapped, we use a little scoop to pull our piece out. Cores like this contain an endless supply of information, from the age of the tree to its unique chemical profile, which researchers can use just like DNA.
So each tree has its own chemical signature, like a perfume. This particular tree smells like Montana.
Oh, hey-oh. Yes, it does. So if I did this to another tree, it would smell a little bit different.
A tree in Alaska will smell completely different from a tree in Montana.
Oh,
they have their
crazy.
own unique chemical signature.
Oh, wow.
We place this unique sample into a tube, mark the GPS location of the tree, and pack everything up to be sent to a lab and processed.
So the researchers are able to analyze the genetics and the chemical profiles of these samples and then build that genetic and chemical reference library.
Michelle and her team hope this library can help enforcement agencies track stolen timber through supply chains. Ideally, this helps them prosecute poachers in court with physical evidence.
Thank you so much for today. I didn't know there was so much technology and science that went into protecting forests. This is so cool. I'm gonna make like a tree and get on out of here.
Do you mean leaf?
Oh, yes. That's better, huh? Bye.
Bye.
Welcome back. Before we go, we have one last thing.
You're gonna get a lot of good advice, a lot of not so good advice, and you're gonna have to figure out the difference and make decisions that work for you.
For anyone looking to get into a STEM field, my advice is that some of the most challenging things that you face are the most worth it in the end. My encouragement is to stick with it.
That's it for this week's Mission Unstoppable. Next week, we're trying to book a shy geologist, but we might have to wait till she's feeling bolder. Bye. If you're watching this, you must have really liked the video. Make sure you follow and subscribe, and check out these other videos that are even better. No, really. I've seen this one over 100 times.